1, 2, back. You know what I mean? Let's get these angles proper. You feel me? Chopping Blades, episode 3, DJ Jerome Baker the third. You know, then we're gonna ride. I'm gonna ride the ship solo today, but we're about consistency here for the rest of 2024. My whole life is consistency. You know what I'm saying? Chopping Blades, episode 3, aka Incarcerated, Scarfaces, aka Big Me, because that's where we are right now. It's a beautiful yet frigid Sunday here in Washington, D.C. But we want to get your Monday kicked off beautifully by the time you hear this. And yeah, I mean, it's been a fantastic weekend. Uh, Obviously, patreon.com/what's the podcast for all of this beautiful information. Um, and yeah, man, I mean, we're back, man. I had an amazing weekend. 4 gigs. You know what I do. Got it in at all of them. Um, and so we have to make sure that we just give thanks and praise. My mother hit me early with the Sunday mantra. You know what I mean? Just stay grateful and humble, which we are doing. But at the same time, I bodied everything this weekend. Oh my goodness. Um, and we just keep looking for bigger and better, man. Patreon.com/what's the podcast. Please subscribe, rate, comment. It's a beautiful situation. Um, we are very fortunate in order to just be here, man. I know I'm excuse me, I'm rumbling a little bit. I'm fresh on the awake side of things, and we're here to rock out. But um, we're riding ship solo. Shout out to anybody who checked our last episode with my man, my mellow Silas Grant. We actually have some more video content coming this week to support that episode because it is just extremely important in our opinion that you hear that a lot of what Silas has to say and share with us is one of my favorite podcast episodes that we've ever done here at What's a Podcast. And I hope that we continue to bring fire of that ilk. Very grown man, you know what I'm saying? Get a suit, get it tapered up, you know what I mean? And help your community outside of picking up trash, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you tap in with that, listen a couple times, comment, all that good stuff. But yeah, man, we're back. We're here. Chopping Blades, episode 3. March Madness is in full effect. I'm not paying attention to things necessarily specifically. I'm a big pro guy, pro hoops. I hope my sons can continue to stay on the winning path. Um, but March Madness is here, a lot of money. Shout out to my younger brother. He seems to be reaping the benefits of his gambling. His gambling. Let's call it his gambling enjoyment. That's all it is. He just enjoys to throw some dollars around here and there. It's a beautiful thing. Um, like many other people across the world, gambling is so much easier now. I believe the NBA introduced some new gambling techniques, that's some in-game stuff, and it's a double-edged sword, man, because you want people to enjoy and you want people to participate, but obviously we've seen where players are being violated or harmed or whatever the case may be, and so that makes it not as fun as it should be. Because you've always got those crazies out there, you feel me? But at the end of the day, personal security is always the most important. And many players are like, hey, listen, if you make that wrong decision, you will get dealt with, my brother, over your $7 parlay. So, same time FanDuel's coming to DC. I need that. FanDuel, if you guys are listening, please talk to me. I'd love to help make more money for all of us. You feel what I'm saying? But obviously, big conversation this week. Future Metro Boomin new album drop. We Don't Like You, I believe is the name of the album. And, for me, it's a very kind of cookie cutter trap album, but a lot of people have said that Future's in his bag and it's got Metro back to his 2015, which is, I mean, Metro is in his bag and Future is back to his 2015 flows, what they're saying. However, I'm not necessarily of that belief because 2015 Future was one of the greatest runs of all time. That DS2, 15, 16, whatever year you want to call it. I'm not here to be specific per se. Um, but it's good, and obviously people are very into the Kendrick's verse. Kendrick's verse is special. It's um it's something that I think people needed to listen to a few times. You know what I'm saying? There's some nuance in there. There's some details. And throughout the album, I guess there's shots. It's kind of a Metro Future Kendrick thing versus Drake and J. Cole and 21 Savage is what I'm seeing being made out to be. I don't have a dog in the fight, but I do like Kendrick's energy because when he starts it, he goes. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's important. Like if we're gonna do this, let's do this. You know what I mean? So shout out to Big Me and just that whole situation. Let us know in the comments how you feel about it. Um, because it's very important that we share. We got to keep the art form alive. Hip hop has definitely been in just a weird place recently, but it's also been to the point where it's very it's consistent. Whether good or bad, it's consistent. It's not the popular music driver that it once was. The culture is, but the music has been, yeah, you know what I mean? So even last night, you know what I'm saying? Like our party probably is for a bit more of an older crowd, a bit more mature crowd. And we played a lot of newer stuff, but the older jams that would get it going. We had a wedding. Lady requested nothing but Louisiana hip hop. That Big Boosie and anything else you can imagine under the sun that's from Louisiana. And it went absolutely crazy. Everything. Big Timers, Master P. I mean, I'm just pulling records. Obviously, anything from that Southern Steez went crazy. So it was a good time. And so like we'll see where we go from here, right? We'll see what Drake and Cole finish their tour with. If there's a mention of anything, we'll see if there's anything that they drop when they're toured. I'm sorry, when they're festival. J. Cole has a festival in North Carolina. So we'll see what that hits for. And then, we're gonna go from there, man. Hip hop, it is what it is. Like Kendrick put it there. So let's see what cracks off, right? Um, in another very sort of torn decision because we it's still free Palestine until Palestine is free. And the Israelis went on record and saying they weren't going to bomb a hospital. They actually bombed a hospital Saturday night, Sunday morning with people in it. There's footage you can see of people, trying to run with IVs in their arms, which is absolutely crazy. Which to me is like, all right, yo, we need to like figure this out very quickly and how we're going to end this because this is getting to the next level of. I mean, it's already been there. 32,000 dead, I believe. But it's like, come on, G, like the rest of the world, step up and make something happen. So I'm, foolishly, unfocusedly, and I'm torn. I'm human. I make decisions. I make good and bad decisions every day. Uh, but I believe Disney Plus has been in support of Israel throughout this entire invasion. So I had really kind of sworn off Disney Plus for a minute, but Disney Plus dropped a new X-Men '97 cartoon. I grew up watching X-Men. I grew up watching all the X-Men series. I think there was an early '90s X-Men, '92, maybe '91. And there was another X-Men in '97. This was like when Fox had a banging Saturday morning cartoon lineup. Uh, and I'd really, really wrestled with the fact of not watching. I'm not here to support. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just. But I wanted to watch it. I don't watch a lot of TV at all. I just watch a lot of sports and like trying to learn stuff off YouTube, Ableton, and like small houses and furniture and stuff like that. So I watched it, X-Men '97 double premiere, which made me feel double bad. And of course, and these are spoilers included. And we're gonna make sure we put that in the caption. We're gonna make sure we put that um in everything. Spoilers included. But why is Storm the weakest X-Men ever? She dies in every first episode, or gets her powers taken away, or gets hospitalized, or gets just completely violated by like some much, much lesser than individual. And you know what I'm saying? Like, how the hell are black people supposed to feel good about themselves? We got Bishop, he's cool, but he didn't get a ton of airtime. But Storm got straight up disrespected. And like, how are we supposed to represent and do that? Am I gonna watch the next episode? We'll see. Again, I feel some kind of way. Obviously, we're human. You know, what I mean, I've probably supported products that support Israel. I've given up the Coke. I think Coke is one, or soda or something. Coca-Cola products. Now, I do enjoy a good Sprite every now and then. However, I enjoy Sprite, particularly when I'm DJing, because I don't like to drink when I'm DJing. Like that tequila adds up very quickly and it's poison. And it's all about big me. So I'm trying to stay focused, look my best, be my healthiest, truthfully, is what we're trying to be, is be our healthiest. Um, and so, you know, it's a very it's a human, you know, it's human decisions, human emotions, feelings. You want to be empathetic to what's going on over there because it's crazy and it's somewhat fallen out of the news cycle. But you know, at the same time, I wanted to relive that from my childhood, and you know, it's done. It is what it is. I slept okay with it. I will continue to pray for the people of, you know, Palestine, as my mother has said, to, you know, for their human rights to be restored and just bombing stopped. With the podcast, Choppin' Blades, episode 3, aka Incarcerated Scarfaces, aka Big Me. Now, the Incarcerated Scarfaces name within the title is basically because Raekwon went absolutely incredible on the song by himself. Hey yo yo, what up yo? Like, beat nasty, RZA on the beat, and just niggas lyrics be whack, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, Catch podcast be whack. People in general are whack. And you just, and the sooner you come to that realization, and I tell my daughter that all the time. However, I do try to say it in a way where she still gets to experience people on her own versus me just being like, listen, just ride out with daddy for the next 60 plus because everybody else in life sucks. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. She needs to experience that on her own. And I can only prepare to ride off in the sunset and buy a house in Tempe, Arizona. You know what I'm saying? So I think that obviously, you know, we're this week. What are we looking forward to? JJJounds. I think JJJounds dropped this week. Need those. Um, need those. JJJound Adidas. Just something cool for the summer. Real low key. Let's do that. There has been a mention of Nike on an earnings call, um, stated they're cutting back on Air Force Ones. I don't know if this is going to have the same feeling that Dunks had a few years ago over the pandemic when it was just insane to get Dunks. I think we'll probably see gluttony in terms of Fat Joe buying 500 pairs of Air Force Ones, but you know, I think ones, it's less about the fact that y'all are cutting back, and it's the fact that y'all just made bad decisions releasing specific colorways. And I really respect the fact that they celebrated however many years of the shoe. But at the same time, it was like, bro, y'all really need to do some better product testing. Figure out what do people in the streets want. You understand what I'm saying? Like, do people in the streets really want 40 years of the Air Force One or whatever it is, 35? I don't even know. What is it? It was 40 years, I think. Yeah, something like that. And so you're putting all this product, and when it sits, you're blaming your earnings because this shoe is sitting, but it's like, bro, nobody is asking for wide scale releases of some of these sneakers. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, I've always been a firm believer that when you do product testing or when you're like really trying to figure out what do people like about your brand, you don't necessarily do product testing in like New York City. Because in New York, everything goes. So it's gonna give you a false sense of like they really want this. No, you don't even do it in like DC or Miami. No. You gotta do product testing in fucking Missouri. Because if you do product testing in Missouri, then you realize like, yo, this is what's really pop. Like the malls, what's moving? Suburban Virginia, what's moving? Right. Let me look at the globe real quick. See what else is popping out here. Idaho. My beloved Arizona, parts of Texas. This is where you see where people are less sort of hype influenced, and they're more. It's more like these are the shoes that I'm really buying, and you will have a rude awakening. And I think that's what Nike got when it came to these Air Force One sales and its outlook, because as much there's only so many people who have a lifelong affinity for Air Force Ones, and now that y'all have overproduced and stuff is sitting, I also think it's foolish to, and maybe hopefully they'll start this later in the year, but I would never pull back on Air Force One supply right before the summer. That's foolish. The East Coast, the West Coast, you know what I'm saying? Certain places, a fresh pair of white on whites is gonna go crazy. Now, do you need the Lux pair with African alligator leather on it and all that? No. You don't need a $450 pair of Air Force Ones. You need to drop the price of Air Force Ones back to when it was, a 110. Let me see how much Air Force Ones are. Um, I'm looking at 115 on Nike. I mean, I remember when they were 90. I remember when Commonwealth used to carry them, and it was a very, very well performing sneaker. You know what I'm saying? So just be smart, Nike. You know what I'm saying? Holler at me. I'll tag y'all in the caption. My services are uh, respectable, not cheap, but y'all got it. So let's do it. And we can continue to help make everybody make some money. You know what I'm saying? Because that's obviously what the ultimate goal here is. Um, but obviously, what's a podcast? Patreon.com back to what's a podcast? Excuse me, I was reading something real quick. But patreon.com backslash what's a podcast is doing really well. Shout out to everybody who has signed up. Remember, there's free memberships available. You can pay the $5. Paying the $5 is never a problem. You can also pay the 10 or the 20. And we have a meeting actually Tuesday. Should be really popping about our Wizards collaboration. That's gonna be dope. And then also um, that will wow, okay. That will go crazy. So there is, and this is just this is how this is how much the game is loved. So I grew up in Arizona. We all know this. It's the greatest place on earth. I played ball, was there, had the accolades, led the state in assists, all that good stuff. Had offers. My mother was like, "You're not going to these places. You're going to Hampton University. Whatever." Ended up going to Hampton. Great decision. I still miss ball every day. Ball is life. However, I do remember playing against. Obviously, because we're in Arizona, there is such a like it's either white people or Hispanics. Those are just your dominating cultural forces out there. So even in hoop, it's the same thing. So what I'm seeing now is there is a Chicano basketball league, which is putting on the Latino basketball showcase in Arizona. Now, the Chicano Basketball League is 27 years old. I have not lived in Arizona for since 1998. So take that for as many years as you can. So they're the Chicano Basketball League, which they're calling the best kept secret. Oh boy, this is one for the papers. I'm actually reading it on the paper's website. It says the point of the whole thing is to bring light not only on basketball but culture. Sometimes as Chicanos, Latinos, we lose our culture. Kids lose their culture. Saturday was a celebration of culture, number one, and our youth in a sport that will teach them to have more confidence, teach them to be better people in life. And listen, man, that's tight. I think the illest thing, and they had players came from throughout Phoenix area, Yuma, which is the suburbs, Peyton, Nogales, and 3 represented Los Angeles. Um, and so I think that this is tremendous. Obviously, they got some low riders outside because that's what the essays do. However, that's what the black people do that too. Don't trip. Like the black people, we got low riders, and we're part of that culture as well. So um, the biggest issue, it was never about Latinos not being good basketball players. a lot of them catches wasn't tall. Like we didn't have 6'3" Latinos when I was playing basketball in Arizona. We had like 5'10" and below. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But it was what it was. And I think that now basketball is so hyper produced and so hyper marketed. Like Instagram, basketball's everywhere. Ball is life and all this other stuff. And so I think that people really, March Madness, obviously. Basketball is just it's crazy out there. And Arizona is the kind of place where growing up, the weather was so great. Right. The weather was so great that like our uh our Sunday, so like a Sunday night, right? Unless it was, excuse me, we'll shoot for like a summertime Sundays, June, July, man. And this before it's dumb hot, but it's still like 110 during the day. So it might be like 95 or maybe even 92 a night. But it's summer, and we would hit 4 parks to try to find the best basketball game, try to find the best competition. And this is when we're in high school, outside of high school, maybe summers I would come home from college, and the weather obviously helps aid in the development of sport because you can play it all year long, particularly outside if you want to do that to your knees. I cannot do that to my knees anymore. But with a lot of professional sports, Arizona is the perfect breeding ground because of the weather. So spring training obviously takes place for baseball. A lot of college athletes, once they declare for the draft, particularly football, they shoot to AZ. Whatever agency that is representing them will live in a little house with 3 other players, and their whole goal is to work out twice a day outside in February because it's 72 degrees. Like it's a little slice of heaven. I suggest if you go to Arizona, man, please do visit. You know what I'm saying? Spend some money with my brother. It'll be a good time. And that's what it is. Patreon.com/What's a Podcast. I just have to consistently say that because we want to get as much attention on the brand as we can. Um, and we're trying to get to spring. I would love if spring fought back. It's like 52 in DC right now. I've got to leave shortly, and it's going to be a hoodie, big jacket, layered day, right? And so I think that, once the weather really cracks, I think that we're going to be okay. Obviously, it's going to be a lot going on in this world this summer, just the whole everything, So walk outside with your head high, feel proud, pick up something, help somebody cross the street, do whatever. Um, 2024 South by Southwest, I believe, is coming on. And South by is something that I attended last year with the homies. This year, not so much. A lot of people, I don't think South by was getting the funding, the attention, the focus. I feel was more on the tech and uh, that particular area versus the parties. Like there were still parties, people still have fun, but it's not like you're not just going down to discover new acts and bands like it was back in 2020. I mean, in 2012 when Fader Fort was there and all that kind of stuff. I think we need to see a resurgence of, you know, bands plus rap groups, singers, etc. You need that whole melting pot to really be leading the charge all year long for it to make sense at a place like Fader Fort. Um, but at the same time, Austin has also changed. It's really expensive. A lot of the physical spaces that were available in um, Austin 10, 15 years ago are no longer available. They're covered up by apartments and stuff like that. So just the lay of the land and the actual physical embodiment of the festival has changed. But it's all good. Change is constant. Change is forever. And it's all about adapting and growing and becoming a better person. You feel me? Um, and so we're out here, we're figuring it out. You know what I mean? I think that summer in DC, I just bought tickets to see Cortex. If you're not familiar with Cortex, please open up your Apple Music or your Spotify. uh, they are a tremendous band. They're performing, uh, let me make sure I get this right because I know the album that they're performing. I believe the show is already sold out as well. So if you missed that, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But um and the show is not until Jeez, when is the show? July 3rd, actually. But Cortex, July 3rd. Let me get this. That's my man E. Um, they're performing Troupeau Blue by Cortex, which it's jazz. You know what I'm saying? Once you hear, you'll know. Like when you hear, if you listen to MF Doom's One Beer, he sampled that from the Cortex record, and it's absolutely tremendous. And I think that, uh, you know, this is where we are in life. At 43, I want to go see a jazz show. I'm excited. I'm buying tickets 3 months, 4 months ahead of time, damn near. You feel me? And it's a Wednesday night show, which means I gotta get the beans situated, stretch, drink some water. All right, show's at 7. George's at 7. We gotta get there at 7, join at 8, and then be ready for our Thursday responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? But it's tight. Looking forward to it. Maybe we go to get dinner before. That's what adults do. You go get dinner. You know what I'm saying? Eat, boom. Sometimes people leave the show early. I'm not leaving the show early. Probably go out that night. But nevertheless, the excitement levels are crazy high for that. I know Coachella is on the up and up. Broccoli City has announced here in DC. Shout out to them for what they do every year, being consistent. And we just wanted to highlight these things. Obviously, it's Chopping Blades episode 3, Incarcerated Scarfaces, aka Big Me. Um, and we're just gonna figure it out. The Pierre episode is on the way. We may have to re-record. I need to talk to him. Um, but the Pierre episode is pure fire. Shout out to New York Giant. I got a couple of other homies ready. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, Chopping Blades episode 3, Jerome Baker the third. We have been here. Little ramble, but it's cool. I crushed it last night at the club, so I'm still feeling the positive effects of that. And so, check us out. Patreon.com/What's the Podcast. Shout out to Silas Grant for our last full podcast episode. Amazing. More video content dropping on Monday for that. And I will catch y'all on the next episode of What's the Podcast. And we are out. Peace.